And you can see here I now switched to Bard, and Bard is my number one champion here. And you can see, uh, looking down here at this main graph for combat, that the yellow represents my play style basically, and the gray box, or I guess it's more of a pentagram or a pentagon-ish thing, parallelogram of some sort. I don't know, whatever. I forgot what the word is. Polygon. Anyway, it can have up to 5 sides, I suppose, right? Because there's 5 different things here. So I'm looking right now at my last 10 games that I played as a ranked solo duo as Bard. I have an 80% win rate, which is pretty good. I mean, that's really good if you think about it, but that's only my most recent 10 games. So now, as you go over, you have 3 areas that you're graded on: combat, income, and map control. And again, the yellow area represents you, and the gray area represents, well, whatever you have selected over here. This just happens to be comparing with silver support players. Silver support Bard players, because I am, in fact, silver this season. I didn't make it to gold. But I'm going to go ahead and do challenger support Bard players, okay? Because let's just say I want to be a challenger. You know what I'm saying? I want to roll my stuff like a challenger does. So now I'm looking at income, right? This is the income tab. And I'm going to do this for each of the 3 areas here. You can see in combat, my graph is way far away from, the shape of a challenger Bard player's graph. They have a huge advantage in utility score. Let's see, if you come down here, I'm about 40 points below. And that is an average for my last 10 ranked games anyway. Now I'm gonna swap this over to normal, because as this is preseason right now, I've been trying to adjust my graph, and and how I've decided to do that was I looked onto this stat page, and I came down here and I said, well, okay, I'm really good at damage per death. Like, apparently I deal a lot of damage with Bard, damage share, but I'm lower in kill participation, KDA ratio, not by much, and utility score by a massive ton. So how do the question is, how do I, adjust my graph or adjust my play style in order to reach a utility score that's 40 points higher per game? So we're going to come down here, and we're going to look at utility score. We're going to highlight right over the name of it, and it's going to tell you exactly what you need to do. So, crowd control, team healing, and team damage reduction. So, am I not hitting as many Qs and stunning enemy champions as often? Are my heals not as much of a focus as it should be? Because normally I do max Q with Bard, which, obviously my graph does kind of show that in the combat area I am, really high in damage per death and damage share. So maybe if I ramp up and put points in to my W instead, which are the little healing teapots or whatever, yeah, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, I mean, maybe that change, getting a little bit heavier on the heals would help increase this score. So I already have two ideas in order to do this. Yeah, I mean, there might be something completely different. Another rune that you can change. Team damage reduction, for example, would be Guardian. It would be, you'd be getting you'd be shielding your lane mate more often, and then therefore you would be reducing damage to your team. Now, maybe all three of these things. Maybe I could go, try to try to practice more at uh, executing my cues more frequently and on point. Uh, I can, put more points into my W earlier as opposed to my Q, and I can take Guardian, and I can do all of those things in order to get this graph to shape more towards utility score. I mean, I'm going to do this at income. Like, okay, well, I am losing an early CS advantage. And, that. As a support, I've always been trained not to kill minions. So, uh, this one I have a hard time with. I feel like I'm doing better by not killing minions and neutral monsters. I feel like that might be a little bit more uh, aimed towards your AD carry, or somebody who is a lot more reflective on needing to gain gold and gaining an item advantage through doing so. But as far as damage per gold and CS per minute, I'm still far ahead of challenger players. The only thing that I'm just a tiny bit below an early gold advantage, which also is reflected by my grade here. Is an A and A minus. So now next is map control. So I've got an advantage over challenger players in objective control ratio and kill conversion ratio. Again, I think it's mostly related to the way that I play Bard. My vision score per hour could be obviously increased. I mean, that's a pretty simple one, right? Your contribution to vision control for your team and against the enemy. I mean, it basically, and I know this to be a fact, is as a game gets later on, I drop less wards. I, give up my control ward space. Well, I'm not doing that anymore as much this season because they did release that new item that allows you to upgrade to to carry 3 red wards, and once you reach level 13, it does give you a pretty significant stat boost. I think it's like 10% to health, ability power, uh, maybe attack damage, and one other stat. I can't remember off the top of my head. I can check that in game. But so here anyway, these are the last 10 ranked games that I played. Now, you do have the option to go through an entire season. Like, I could go to my whole 2019 season here. And this does not look nearly as good, right? I played a lot of games. 38. That is actually not that many with him, considering. But you can see that my graph these are compared to silver support players. It's a little bit more close. You know what I'm saying? Like, overall, I'm pretty well average. Obviously, had a advantage in CS per minute earlier, which is funny because I don't do that now. But you can see my graph here is fairly well shaped. It just needs a little improvement in some areas. So anyway, recent 10 games. Now I'm going to normal. This is after I have made changes in my game, and you can see now, out of my last recent 10 Bard games, my graph is looking very similar. I've obviously, oh, that's map control. But look at my utility score after making some changes here. Suddenly, that graph, this is all support Bard players, but it's fine. But you see my graph here. I still maintained this advantage here. It might have gone down a little bit because every time you know make a decision, there are losses in other areas. So if I take uh, summon Airy, that's not even a good example. Maybe something that deals damage. If I take Hail of Blades versus Dark Harvest, for example, they're still dealing damage, but by taking Dark Harvest, you sacrifice some, sustained overall damage by taking Hail, as you would have if you had taken Hail of Blades. It's not the best example now that I'm thinking about it, but it's like there's a financial or economic term for that, and it's I forget what it's called, but it's like unrealized losses. I can't remember exactly what the term is off the top of my head here. Anyway, so looking at this, you can see now that I have adjusted my graph. I've gotten a little bit more utility. I still suffer in early CS advantage because I really just don't like to attack the minions and mess up the rhythm of the ADC, which is they can get a little upset about that. So, but I am obviously CS per minute. I'm very close. I mean, 0.2 away. So that's a stat that I wouldn't even really gauge myself on as a support, but I do still deal a lot of damage with Bard. My early gold advantage is up. Map control on my roam dominant score is beautiful. Kill conversion ratio could use some work. A little bit in the objective control ratio. I mean, I've obviously in my ranked profile, I was way ahead, but maybe it's about the same. 40.9%. Let's take a look. Okay, so yeah, it did go down, but so did, I believe, this graph. Vision score per hour, still low. Like I said, that's a habit of mine that I can't seem to break, is to, you know, when the game starts getting later, I just struggle to keep laying wards. So anyway, that is kind of how to read the stats tab, and I'm gonna back up and I'm gonna I'll look at Janna here. I had a 70% win rate with Janna. It's amazing that I had a less than 50% win rate overall, but it's fine. Obviously, you can see here my combat with Janna needs a lot of work. I do more damage, but my utility score is down. My KDA ratio is down. My kill participation is down comparatively to support Janna players. Now, I've also been doing some things with her in normal. So my normal draft picks, like one of the things that I did was I switched to Guardian, so I would get a little bit more shielding. And so look, boom, we're gonna do that. Look at my utility score now. And with that, my KDA ratio has gone up. My utility score has gone up. My damage per death has gone up because I'm staying alive a little bit longer. My damage share is better. I mean, not better than it was in my ranked games, I don't believe. We're at 11. That's about the same. But in normal, the graph changes slightly, so you kind of have to get your, if you're looking for ranked stats, you kind of have to pull these from over here and then comparatively bring up the normal ones. So I'm still a little low, excuse me, on kill participation. Income, I'm doing good here. This is obviously a great thing for me. CS per minute, early gold advantage, damage per gold, my early CS advantages. Map control. Now this is weird, huh? Apparently a lot more people roam with Janna than I do. But I'm a lot better at, controlling dragons and turrets and rift heralds and stuff and such like that. So roam dominance score, how much you contributed to kills, deaths, and assists in other lanes at 15 minutes. Just means that I'm basically not going to other lanes, and because of that, my kill conversion ratio is gonna obviously be affected by that because I'm not getting these kills that the other people are. Vision score per hour better, but still overall. So yeah, that's how you will navigate the stats tab. And of course, like I said, you can change from challenger to grandmaster to whatever. I mean, you'll see how as you go down the way, most of the stats will drop. Iron support Janna players have an objective control ratio. I mean, look at this graph comparatively to that one. The roam dominance scores in Challenger are amazing. 2.18. And it's not always to say that things can't be done your own way. You can do anything you want, obviously. It's just the nature of the game. However, look at my Ari. I'm terrible with that champion. Combat C, income B plus. I'm good at early control of CS. So, yeah. No, anyway, you can do whatever you want. I mean, in this game, and people can either tell you or tell you not to, or try to, or yell at you, or do whatever it is that they want to